How are you?
Oh, good morning.
Oh my
Good morning,
God.
good morning, good morning.
Good morning to
How
you,
are
darling.
you?
How you doing? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I actually was going to do this on my computer and then for some reason it didn't charge. I think I need a
I
new
think it's.
computer.
I think it's.
So I've got to do it through my phone. Sorry.
No, I think a phone is
Anyway,
better
it's okay.
to do
Is
live.
it the phone's better?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All
It's like
right.
I think you can manage that a little bit better live, but we need to learn all of this anyway. So, um, right. Okay, so
So
let's just.
is there anybody actually watching? I don't know that there is.
I don't think they're watching. We haven't advertised this properly, did we? But it is what it is. It's always the first
I'm not,
time. Listen, it's happened for a reason. People can rewatch that and see what's going on. It's been a crazy time.
they can rewatch it, which is
Absolutely,
really,
because
really, really
yes,
good.
yes, you just put that on description, and then we can, download that to your
Yeah,
live videos. And yes, yes, yes.
yes,
So
I
we
can
are
do that.
learning. We are learning. We are doing the new stuff because it's been a crazy 5 years, isn't it? All right.
It's
So
been a
Tracy, come
very
on. It's your show.
so
Introduce yourself and
I want
everything.
to
Yeah.
talk about so we're going to be talking about parasites, and you're the guru. You're the parasite guru. You're the gut guru.
Got
So
to. Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to you because I don't know anything very much about parasites other than I've had parasites and I've had to, try and get rid of it. And I've got friends who have had parasites and they're doing their best to get rid of them. So, and they've had stomach issues for years. So I want to know, about parasites, what causes these parasites to come into, and also what other issues that they cause as well,
Yeah. Let's
those
introduce
sorts of.
ourselves first. You. It's your
Okay.
show. Introduce. Yes, you are
Well, it is my show.
nurse.
So this is Dr. Angela Musso, who is a very, very good friend of mine and a bit of a gut guru. So she knows all about, she has been trying to get me on board with the whole gut regime for a long time. And I hadn't really kind of clued into what she was saying until I actually got parasites myself. And then it became a huge issue. And then everything that you said to me really clicked into place. So that's why I want to talk about and also I've got friends who are having all sorts of gut issues.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've brought you on to talk about all of this because you're the one who knows so much about it. Dr. Angela. Angela has a business called The Healing Place, and she's on YouTube. You're on YouTube, aren't you? And
Yeah.
you're on
Yes. Yeah.
TikTok and you're on
TikTok,
Instagram as
Instagram.
well
Yeah.
as The Healing Place. And if you
Yeah.
can't find her at The Healing Place, she's also Dr. Angela Musso. So you're a doctor, a GP that has had GP experience for the last how many years? 30
So
years?
no, no, no,
Nearly
no. So I've been a doctor for 25, but I qualified GP for 30.
25 years.
Yes, but I've been qualified as a GP for um
Oh,
13 years now. And I mean that was
yes.
interesting. People are saying hi, they're joining. Amazing, amazing, amazing. You need to talk
Oh,
about
fantastic.
yourself because you've been amazing nurse for more than 30 years, isn't it? And you know the
Well, I
system
have been
from
a
in
nurse.
and out.
Yes, yes, I have. I have been a nurse and seen a lot, but with the whole parasite thing, I haven't had much to do with because, of course, most doctors don't really go down the track of parasites when they're
Oh, they
dealing
say
with any kind of gut issues at all.
2 seconds. Is some person saying Tonic Sink he was not able to do super chat. What's this super chat? Is that when they pay
I
when we
don't know
have to do
what
the
is
stuff?
super
I
chat.
don't know. I'm sorry, I
What?
can't reply. We're just talking. Yes, I don't know what the
No,
super chat is.
I don't know about super chat. I'm not, but we can just write, whatever.
we,
Oh, I don't
we
know
will sort
either.
that
So
out.
how
Don't
do you
worry.
do
Don't
that?
worry. Let's talk about
Live chat.
yes.
All
So
messages, your messages are here. So all messages are visible. Everything's visible, so I can
everything is
actually see
visible.
you.
So yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. It's
so it's
beautiful,
there. So
beautiful. Yeah.
if you do actually ask us a question, we can answer. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
just type
yes.
in any questions that you have for Angela about anything to do with the gut and also. So I'm going to actually turn it over to you, Angela, because I would actually like you to talk about what you are so good at, which is the gut biome and all
Gut
things
microbiome.
parasites.
So one of the listeners just said, what did he say? Can I ask what's the purpose of this life? Well, we just talk about all things about parasites. People, do you know when I went to the med school, right? We learned so much about parasites. It was so many parasites, how they go everywhere in your body. But suddenly when you finish med school, we just stop talking about it. And not only stop talking about it, do we only treat parasites when we actually visibly see them. You know, all these ringworms or whatever, kids come and just say because they, in contact with the soil, or they pick up the parasites, I don't know, because they don't wash their hands and what have you. And they suddenly they go to the toilet, they see these wiggly things, and they're scared, come to see their parents, and that's when we start the treatment of parasite. However, that's just not finished there. If you start researching, I mean, it was a long way for me to research what exactly happened in my life, because I, as other most of the doctors, was like a system doctor. I've been told what to do, how to treat diseases. Yes, and most
Mhm,
of the
mhm,
treatment is actually symptomatic, as you're aware.
mm.
And during my own healing journey, when I went through quite a bit of, as you know, you went through that as well. I've
I
realized
did.
how important to look after the gut and gut microbiome, because our gut microbiome have like a 70% lives in our gut immune system. Okay, 70%
Mhm,
of immune system produced by our gut microbiome, and 90% of our happy hormones like serotonin is produced by our gut microbiome. So our gut is so important in our health. It's unbelievable. So as we're talking about parasite, there is a lot of things actually affecting our gut, major things, including mental health issues because of the gut brain axis. Every time you're anxious or stressed, it's not only affects you generally, it also affects your gut microbiome, which it will reduce the good bacteria and will increase of production of bad bacteria, especially in your small intestine, which they nowadays call it SIBO, small intestine bacteria overgrowth. That's when you start having all
okay.
these weird symptoms like bloating, and you don't feel very well, you don't digest food very well, and then when you go see your doctor say, oh, we can't find anything else, your bloods are fine, your stool sample is fine, you just have IBS. But it isn't actually
Mm,
correct. You already start having a problem. And major problem that we kind of close our eyes and are blind to it, it's a parasite. And parasites are everywhere, in the water, in our food, I mean, touching things, touching people as well,
mhm,
because they can be infested with
mhm,
parasites, with the eggs, which is always producing. And then you can reinfest yourself with the parasites over and over again. The eggs come out, just goes the cycle. I mean, if your pets as well have so much parasites, it's crazy. So it's when you start researching, I mean, sometimes when you research too much, you then become like a little bit of health freak, like don't touch this, don't touch that. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is your immune system. Okay, many years
mm,
ago, thousands of years ago, people live, they had parasites as well. Parasites been on this earth forever. It's they live,
mm,
they manage to get out of their system because of the good immune system. So it's always to do with the person, how good is an immune system, and with obviously how much and the quantity and quantity of the parasites. I mean, if it's too many, it's overwhelming, isn't it, for your body? So
mm,
you cannot actually get rid of it. You can't get rid of those parasites, and they start sucking all your nutrients. Basically, you feel tired. They not only suck all the nutrients, they will actually control your behavior, your eating behavior.
mm,
That's how clever these little things are. Well, I say little things. We know the major parasites actually can be like 2 meters long. When I was studying in med school, we were studying these parasites, especially coming from the pork meat. It's very dirty meat. There is a reason why
mm.
there is a reason why religious saying that not
Shouldn't
eating
eat it.
pork. hmm
Mm.
when you start researching, and somebody said cats have major parasites. We all know all about toxoplasmosis, but that's more bacteria, which can affect the
Mm.
brain and causing all sorts of issues. But we're mostly just talking all these helminths, all the parasites, all things parasites, as you mentioned quite rightly. So
Mhm.
recently, if you just start researching, you can have echinococcal parasites. We will go to your brain, will go to your liver, and you won't even know this until they put like surrounding that, like a cystic lesions you can have, but inside that it's a parasite. We've seen kids. It was just a stories in a medical school or med book when you see like a cystic lesion, echinococcus, basically parasitic infestation in the liver, in the brain, then later in life causing all sorts of issues. But we just study, and then suddenly after med school, when you start treating people, it all goes away. Nobody mentioned about parasites. And that's when I had the problems with the gut, I start kind of researching, and I realized how much parasites can cause, the sleeping disease in Africa as well, when they become lethargic, and it's all major parasites. I mean, the infection
Mm.
disease, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not infectionist, but Africa has major pool of parasitic diseases. You go somewhere, travel, you had all these parasites, which some of the parasites can cause bladder cancer as well. This has been well known in a medical, um,
Mm.
in a medical system. We would talk about it, but we don't put that much. What can I say? Like, we don't actually investigate that, which we should. We don't
And
investigate
that
that.
that's exactly right. I mean, I took a client to see his regular doctor, but he's been having lots and lots of issues with his gut, and for months now, years even, and they just, because he has other issues, they ignored him and just rolled their eyes. He's had
Yeah,
all sorts of investigations, and in the end, I just thought, well, I'm going to give the parasite cleanse a go. And I went to see a naturopath, and there's a naturopath here in town who sells a lot of stuff in her shop. And I asked for a parasite cleanse, so she told me all about it. She knew everything about it, and she just said to me, um, "Try this, but he'll need further investigation, of course." That's why we went to the doctor as well. But when I mentioned, and since he's taken the parasite cleanse,
yeah,
he this is years and years and years of problems. He started to feel better and
yeah,
started to lose the pain. And it's
yeah,
really interesting because some of the symptoms that regular doctors look for are not the symptoms that you may have that could be parasite related. For instance, we went to see this doctor and I said, look, we've got him on a parasite cleanse now. And he just looked at me and he said, but do you have diarrhea? And he said, well, no, I don't. And he said, well, it's not parasite. And I said, hang on a minute. I said, I've
oh,
had parasites before. I've had
yeah,
parasites before where I
yeah.
actually was, constipated and had a lot of pain. I
I was
said,
about to say,
depending on the parasite. And he goes, oh, well, it's, he just said, like, well, if it's probably not. And he said, well, it won't do any harm. And I said, well,
it
no, it
won't do
won't.
any harm.
But I don't
Sorry.
it's because a lot of people that I work with, and of course I've seen it myself as a nurse, a lot of people put up their trust and literally give over their responsibility for their health to the medical system, and the medical system is not able to really do a lot for people who have these sorts of problems, these very intricate gut issues that are caused by all
Yeah,
sorts of things. And that's the thing, like the doctors are not, I mean, they usually are, they're regular GPs. So of course they don't know everything,
yeah.
which, a lot of people seem to think that they do. And so that's fine. But don't poo-poo poo-poo it when people come in and suggest things, and are a natural alternative, or roll the eyes when you think that it's all, behaviour based. That's not the case.
That's funny that doctor said that. I actually recently, I was working in Cambridge, and I had a patient who's been complaining of chronic constipation, and I had a phone call from 78-year-old basically saying that she has a major constipation. She finally managed to actually open her bowels, and there was a major parasites over there, very long parasites. If it's
Yeah.
happening like in that sort of nicey area like Cambridge, can you imagine how much infestation of the parasite is going on? And I just want to point out, I read somewhere how parasites actually can affect, this ant. Uh, um, it's a parasite in ants, basically, to the point they parasites, when it start grows, it affect behavior of that ant. It's not completely
Mm,
gonna destroy it because it's a host for the parasites, but it will do
mm.
everything that parasites want. It pretty much happens to us as well. If you think about all
Oh,
that
for
cravings
sure.
of the sugar, cravings of the
Yep.
sugar, all of that wheat you want to eat, all that cakes you want to eat, constant you want to do that. Sometimes think about it, because all that cravings can be caused by parasites.
Oh, especially for the sweets, I've noticed that in particular.
Oh, have you noticed that as well?
Yes, I
Literally.
noticed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can't even
Yeah.
say to my patients, it's parasites, go to do your parasite cleansing. But we are
Mm,
most, if you start looking and into fish, the most like we talk about pork, how much parasites in the pork, and some of the parasites don't even die while you're cooking them on 100 degrees. All that, all their eggs and stuff is so well protected. They survived thousand
mm,
and thousand years. So even if you fry that meat on 100 degrees and you think you're gonna destroy that or whatever, it's not gonna happen. We're even talking about wild boars, not only just pork, the pigs you just cut it. It's a wild animals as well, and don't get me started on a fish. How much parasites it lives in a fish, and nobody actually
oh, I
talking
do love
about
this.
this. I love fish
Ah.
too. We're talking about all the sushi eaters. I stopped eating sushis after all of
Yes. Oh, I know.
just
You
like,
know what?
I'm
I've
not
actually
doing
seen
this.
I've seen photos. Like when I was a nurse, I used to see photos of people that with their brain completely open and just full of parasites. Of course,
Yes,
they're dead. That they end up
yes,
killing them. But
yes,
it's just, and that's from eating sushi. It's just
yes.
amazing, isn't it? I had no
Exactly.
idea.
Somebody talking about microplastic, 100% microplastic going to be other topic actually,
Yeah.
because microplastic, it's a major, it's epidemic stuff that causing it,
Mm,
hormonal disruption and what have you. We can talk about like, but now we're talking about parasites because people not aware that it's all this parasitic, and
that's right.
sometimes they come in, the parasites sometimes came out, laid eggs. That's what they do. And sometimes when the little kids or the adults coming up and saying, oh, keep itching down below. It's all to do with
Mm,
they coming
mhm,
out, laying eggs and do all sorts of stuff. And people still don't give attention to parasites. And sometimes blood tests, for example. Have you ever done a blood test when, like eosinophils, one of the counts that doctors not aware of? I'm just going to be honest,
mm,
because they just say, "Oh, it's satisfactory. We're not going to do anything." I always do. I
mm,
also do that because I can't say, "Oh, let's just check your parasite because your eosinophils a little bit high." It sounds like you develop something. It could be because of parasitic infestation. Imagine me
mm,
telling that at the GP practice that you have a parasitic infestation. They'll
mm,
report
mhm.
me. You don't understand what I'm saying.
Well, no, well, I mean, I think I've told you the story about my granddaughter who was so sick for they
Tell
know
me,
what, and
yes.
the doctors remember that, like with and it ended up like I think her white cell count must have been through the roof, and they called my daughter in to say, like she needs to be in hospital with having major IV antibiotics.
IV antibiotic, imagine that.
Bad infection. Now, this was a 10-year-old girl who had lost half her body weight. She in 3 weeks. She didn't eat. She looked like death. She literally was vomiting and nauseated for most of the time. And Africa had to work, so that's my daughter. She came over and I said, look, I'll have Marley for the day. She's my granddaughter. So I looked at her and I said, you look terrible. So I went and got some ivermectin out of the fridge,
Yeah.
which is what I use, the parasite cleanse,
Mm,
and gave her that, and also gave her some colloidal silver as well.
mm, mm.
And within half an hour, she was eating. really well. And by the afternoon, her father came to pick her up. He said, "Oh my God, she looks completely different. She had red, rosy cheeks. She had eaten half a chicken, pretty much. And when the doctor, saw her, she said, I can't believe that's the same child." Of
Yeah,
course,
but
my
they
daughter
wanted
didn't
to give
say,
her antibiotics, which can then
they
gonna
wanted to
be.
put her in hospital with
It's just
major
like
antibiotics,
what?
IV antis, because her white cell count was up, and obviously other things, probably her eosinophils were up as well. And they, just thought, oh, she's got an infection,
Yeah,
No,
that's
it
all
was
they do.
parasite. And
So,
I remember telling you the instant I said to her what she looked like, I didn't even say that, what I'd done. And you go, she's got a parasite infection. Straight away, you said that to
oh,
me.
did I? I don't. I
So
remember. But it's like,
you did,
um,
you did. And I
the
thought, you know what, you did right, because that's what I gave her, and she come good within, and I mean, I'm not saying that ivermectin doesn't always work for all parasites, because, like, for instance, in my friend's case, it didn't work for him, but the parasite cleanse with the binders is working.
yes, it's important
So
to do
that's the
binders.
wormwood and walnut
Yes.
and yeah,
But the
mm,
bind is
and
like
yeah,
no, it's a chlorella spirulina, like charcoal, all the zeolite and stuff.
yes,
All these
charcoal.
binders, shilajit, all of them, the
Yes,
binders, because the parasite dies and it can still stay in your gut. You need to remove it. You can't just. It's a
yes.
toxin itself. It's basically it just stays there. Major stuff stays there. So you need the help to remove that. So apart from taking ivermectin, well, we all have our own kind of way to give ivermectin protocols and stuff. I come up with my own protocol, but um,
Mm.
the whole thing is it's what suit people. You need to do your own research. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, you
It's
do.
not right or wrong. You just know, you just get some answers, try on yourself, ask professionals who knows, not prescribing you antibiotics because your white cell count is up. You understand what I'm
Mm,
saying? It's just that's the only
mm,
thing. They just straight away giving you antibiotics. And when the women come and say, "Oh, I have a brain fog," first sign of the parasite, by the way,
mm.
because of all the
Yeah,
hormonal
so can you
disruption and all this
actually tell
stuff.
us a little bit? Yeah, can you actually tell us a little bit of the symptoms
So,
that actually come with it, with parasitic infection?
well, first of all your cravings you have
Mm,
tired all the time because your nutrients are going somewhere else. You're tired all the time, and you don't know what you're doing. You constantly have this brain fog. What they do
mm,
currently is just a religion about this menopause, pushed by a medical system. What they do, they just give hormones, but it's all to do with the major disruption of your hormones and parasitic infestation, literally parasitic infestation,
mm,
because when the parasites cause inflammation in your gut, your good gut microbiome kind of struggling. So your immune system, because you yourself can get rid of the parasites because of your immune system, your own cell, your own body can heal it, can get rid of it. Obviously it depends how much is in there. It's all kind of
This is
relevancy
why
going
the
on, how
white
much
cell count
parasites there.
goes
Yes,
up.
yes, what is
Yeah,
there,
that's
how
right.
you can get rid of
Yeah.
it. If your body already been kind of healthy, then you can get rid of it quite easily. But if you're already inflamed with the plastic, like we talk, with the heavy metal is the important for parasites. They literally love that stuff. Without heavy metal, you can get rid of parasites quite nicely. However, that's why we've been constantly bombarded by heavy metals. Aluminium you cook in. I don't want to talk about the jabs we talk, it contain lots of heavy
No, and well,
metals.
I was actually going to say pharmaceutical drugs. Do you think that they also play a part
Oh,
in,
major part,
like,
major
if you're,
part.
yeah, if you're
Because
taking a
of
lot of
the
pharmaceutical drugs?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, because understand this, all pharmaceutical drugs depends on the pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamics. So that drug
Mm,
needs to get out from your system, right? The more
mm,
you take that, the more liver is going to be affected. The more your liver is going to be affected. So it cannot detoxify your body. So your lymph nodes, you constantly, like, you have so much toxin, you inflamed, your gut struggling, and the parasites comes in. I'm like, oh, that's a great time. This is a great host. Let me just stay there and let's control the emotions. Understand this. When you have so much toxins, your mental health going off the window, you cannot control your emotions due to leakage of your gut, due to all the hormones goes up, down, and down, all sorts of things happening in you. You know, the hormonal changes happening, hormonal disruption happening. That's which contribute to the brain fog as well. But the primary cause of it is just a parasitic infestation. You know, you come and just, oh, I
Yeah,
have a
so
brain fog.
yeah, so that was another thing that you were saying that really sort of clicked in finally when you actually were talking about it with leaky gut, because I hadn't really understood what leaky gut actually was. And when you explained it to
Yeah,
me and how,
yeah,
you know, it's quite the gut and the bowel itself is quite porous. So it literally that can you
leaks out.
explain about
Yes.
the
So
leaky gut?
basically, when you have all this inflammation, like locally in the gut, and your gut microbiome like cannot deal with that, and you have all these parasites. So the wall of your gut become it has a holes in it. Basically, what is it just explained in this way? So you have a hole. So the big molecules, your hormones that's supposed to get out from your system because your liver already did what it's supposed to do, it doesn't go out, it start leaks out. It leaks out in your body. So again, instead of get rid of it as a, you know, waste from your gut to go away, it doesn't. And all these chemicals, all these metals or hormones that are not supposed to be there goes back to your system, so your liver has to work double times more to sort that out, and it's just a cycle, goes back in, back in, back in, because your leaky gut syndrome, and your hormones go all over the place, and people start,
Mm.
what the people do, you go to the doctor and doctor give you more hormones. I mean, we're talking about women because I see this so many times, it's just crazy. You need to basically heal your gut, heal the lining of your gut. So that won't
Mm.
happen. Soon your gut is healing. There is no leakage of the waste because your liver already sort that out. I'm talking in a very simple language, okay? If you want to like a lecture on us, because that's how I
No,
understand
no,
as well.
I need
That's how I
simple.
understand as
Yeah, I
well.
need simple.
Yes. That's how I understand as well, because we have all these major medical words, this, that, and that, which sometimes people confuse. They don't understand. They just listen what doctor says because they don't understand. It's a big word. They're not clever enough and they don't understand. But it's not. The medicine is so simple. The medicine is actually simple. Everything is simple. It's so simple.
Mm.
All geniuses is simple. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's this,
Yeah.
the hole in your gut, all leaking out. Imagine like you have a pipe and it's all leaking out. It's going to be mess all over the
Mm.
place, isn't it? And it's a
Mhm.
constantly.
Mm.
Imagine it's chronically leaking out, chronic leakage.
Yes.
And so what happened when you chronically leaking all this waste? They're not supposed to be there. Big molecules coming out, not supposed to be around the gut, going in the bloodstream. So it goes back to your liver, obviously. Liver is a major detox. It's our cleanser. Liver, it's like the favorite organ right now in my body.
Yeah, I
You know, it
know.
clears everything. You know, it goes to your liver. Liver then it just start doing detox, and then when you actually constantly chronically do that, liver then won't be able to clean that, so it stays there and you chronically
Right.
inflame. It stays there.
Yes.
Your lymph, even your lymph stasis, your lymph cannot go to that cleansing process. All of that is just basically chronic inflammation. You basically dying from the chronic inflammation very slowly, and add to that you have all this pharmaceutical coming in which make things worse. It might
Mm.
maybe help you
Yeah.
with this, maybe control um
Symptoms,
with the
but it's not,
symptoms,
it
but it
doesn't
but
heal.
it makes so,
No, it just doesn't heal. That's right.
but it makes it
So,
makes
I mean, you and I both know that it's really to heal the self. You've actually literally got to rely on your intuition and
100%.
where it actually leads you to research whatever will actually help you rather than feed your ailments. But what would you suggest if you suspected that you had a parasitic infection? What would you suggest be the main thing that you actually would go for, which you would use?
Well, now I would
Because you
use
talk about
something
a protocol that
different.
you have.
Yes. Now I would use
Yeah.
something different. I mean, my protocol, people can contact me and I'll sort out my protocol and we see. But what happened to me, like I started with the wormwood. Understand the parasites
Mhm.
at the beginning of my journey. I start cleansing the parasites with the all the herbal preparation like wormwood, clove, and black walnut. You can buy that
Yeah.
stuff everywhere. I mean, organic wormwood, and see basically how it's going on. However, the problem is with parasites, they not just stay in your gut. And most of our
Mhm.
cleansing protocol, it's a gut cleansing. As
Mhm.
remember, I've explained to you, like echinococcal infection. Sometimes people have to have an operation to remove the cyst caused by echinococcus
Mhm.
infection, and they also can go to the brain. That's a bit complicated one.
Yeah.
I've seen, like you read in a medical books when you med school, which been more than it's been 30 years ago, and you're just like, oh my goodness, what exactly happened? And suddenly nobody talks about it, and people actually have so much parasites. It's crazy. I had a patient
Mm.
about a year ago. She said, I didn't know people can have parasite. Streptococcal is not parasite, it's a bacteria. Somebody making some comments. Streptococcus, it's a bacteria.
Okay.
So we're talking about parasites, okay? So
Yeah.
like a helminths, all of the parasitic. You can like open up, Google parasites, and so many things will come up about the parasites.
Mm.
You're just gonna be like, oh my goodness, what's going on with my life? However, humans being created to the point they can heal themselves. So I then that's why I'm talking about healing as yourself. I start researching what I can do to help my gut.
Mhm.
Wormwood was my
And I
to
think it
go.
really does, doesn't it? I mean, even though you may have parasites or, other infections that, can lead to all other anything, it really does start in the gut, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Because I mean, when I
yeah,
was very ill too, I had a lot of IBS symptoms. I mean,
yeah,
I had to do a lot of
yeah.
internal, like when I
Work.
say internal work, I had to do a lot of emotional and spiritual work to heal that. So a lot of, and so also talk about trauma as well, and how that can affect your gut as
That
far
is
as like
so.
attracting
It's such a
parasites and all that sort of stuff as well.
So it's so interesting. So obviously we can attract all of this. It's a food. You have to be just mindful. You can clear and what have you. But things people don't understand. So the trauma. I had to do my own healing. I had to go through that stuff to understand because I didn't know anything about it until you go through that. Like it happens to you.
Mm,
Everybody have their own time.
that's right.
It's just
Yeah, yeah.
it's just life. You can't
Mm,
do anything. It's just everybody is different. So you need to let them be. You need
mm,
to let them realize what's going on. So
yeah.
the trauma. Why I would like to talk about trauma because you see people doing all the right things, doing all the parasite cleansing and what have you, and it's all fine. But understand the gut brain axis. Okay, so trauma stays there, even though you think you are healed and everything is fine. Your body feel tense. You produce that stress
Mm,
hormone. Whatever you say,
mm,
that stressful hormone produced over and over again. You just constantly, if you don't deal with your trauma, it's just back of your mind. It doesn't go anywhere. It just stays there and cause
mm,
chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation happens how? You basically, again, it will affect your gut brain axis, that chronic trauma, you don't deal with that, feels not right, even though you just get on, you feel happy or supposed to be happy, or how, but because you haven't healed that trauma, the things will continue over and over and over again. You will have that chronic inflammation. You will have that autoimmune disease. People talking about it. This famous psychologist,
mm,
Gabor Mate, he talks about trauma suppression and how that can cause autoimmune disease. And autoimmune disease actually caused by problems with the gut microbiome because of that gut and brain and gut axis, because you suppress your emotions, you have all that negative feeling, and that straight away affect your gut. Literally, it
Mm.
affects your gut. Your good microbiome suffering. You basically
Yeah.
you tell your friends to get lost somehow, by not dealing with your traumas, by not doing the work. And that's not going to do it in overnight. That's chronic. Yeah, chronic. Even I have
It
people
is.
comes to me like this. Oh, my life is good, there is nothing to worry about it, I don't have stress, everything is fine. But you can see they're not happy and they're completely inflamed.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
can't tell them
So what would
what
you,
trauma you
I
haven't.
mean, apart from, yeah, it's because, I mean, there's diets and things that you can actually do as well to reduce inflammation and all of that
Oh
as
yeah.
well.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I think that does help as well. Um, so what would you suggest if someone was suffering with their stomach and everything else, and they've just been passed over as IBS, and there's nothing really very much wrong with you because it doesn't show up in the drug in any of the blood tests? What would you suggest to somebody that that actually just, you know, was at their wits' end? What could they do to actually try and find out? I mean, yes, do the research and start to go within and find your own answers. But
Well, I
what's
think it's
the
support.
way that they can actually go about finding out? Yeah,
I think the most is support your gut
help.
microbiome. Um, uh,
Mm.
and somebody said take a holiday in Greek island for sure and get some kefir
Oh, for
into you.
sure,
For sure. Holidays
for
change
sure.
your
And if I
mindset.
had the money,
Yes,
I would be over
yes.
there tomorrow.
100%. That I've been always, it's a traveling holidays, because when you're in that midst of that negativity, you cannot look
Mm.
yourself as an observer. Why you cannot look yourself as an observer, your gut microbiome is suffering. Taking you away
Yeah.
from that, get you a bit of vitamin D, which will help you with the immune system,
Mm.
and then replace your gut microbiome. Just introduce that good microbiome into your gut. Fermented food, kefir, kimchi, or whatever. Do your own research,
Vitamin
ferment your
D.
own food.
Yep.
Vitamin D, it's
Do
in,
your own research.
it's a vitamin D is the most
Yeah.
important thing. The traveling is one of my go-to healing journey. If something is pretty bad and I cannot get myself out of that negative situation, because that negativity will affect my gut. When you start talking to
Mm.
people, right? I remember when I have now when I go back and remembering when I had all these migraines and what have you, and then after that I had a gastrointestinal symptoms. I had bloating and typical IBS stuff,
Mm.
and then they said,
Yes.
now it all makes sense, doesn't it? That
Mm-hmm.
axis, that now it all makes sense. But
Yeah.
imagine
Of course it does.
if you're damaging your gut microbiome, just replace it. Get a good microbiome. The one everybody talking about, like Dr. Berek, he done a bit of research. It's a Lactobacillus rotarua, because lots of people been on antibiotics, and that's essential antibiotics for your immune system, lactobacillus rotarua, and it's been wiped off. 90% of population don't have it. I mean, lots of people are talking
Mm.
about it. There is some studies about how gut microbiome, how listen how clever it is, right? Gut microbiome travels to the breast of the mother when before that, basically, especially lactobacillus rotaria, before the baby launch on. So important breastfeeding. So the gut
Oh,
microbiome
wow.
forms that way as well. When I was reading about that,
Yeah.
this is like how clever it's our body.
Yeah.
How clever this all symbiosis with us and this bacteria. How clever
Mm.
everything has been created by God.
Oh, yes,
I
it's
mean,
amazing.
everybody thinks their own way, but everybody have their own belief. How
And,
clever it's all of
and
this.
and it's different for a lot of people too, because for some people it may be travel may not be the thing. It might be getting out in your garden, whatever gives you
Makes you
life and
feel
love and
better.
passion, anything that you're really passionate about, or, and it can be like just, one of the things I have heard is that nature is pretty much God's healer. That's the one that
100%.
you go out into nature and you take your shoes off and, you get your feet on the bare earth. Those things can actually
100%.
really, really help as well,
It's what we'll call it rest and digest. Basically, you will activate your parasympathetic nervous system, because when you're constantly in stress and in that situation, it's a sympathetic nervous
Mm.
system constantly working, and you're in a fight on flight all the time, even though you're not aware, because it's been chronically. And that includes your traumas, because the trauma happened in the past, but when you haven't dealt with it, you still that chronically have it back of your mind, and it doesn't go away until you deal with that. You need to deal with that
Yeah,
emotions, and people are afraid to do that. That's when it's
yeah.
basically all the work starts with you. And how to do it
Mm.
is just basically do the good stuff, do exercises, because it's exercises. When you do exercises, your brain produces this peptide. It will help you to forget even about your exercises. Helps with the dealing with trauma majorly. You
Mm.
start
Mm.
actually, you putting yourself in a different type of mode. And there is, I will do the post about it. This says brain peptide, a specific peptide. I will do the research, and then I put that on my Instagram. It's that peptide helps to deal with your actual people who have a PTSD and anxiety.
Oh,
Imagine
really?
just an exercises can do that.
It's very interesting. I remember years ago, and I'll do a lot of exercise anyway, but I remember years ago, I went on a rock climbing weekend and with a group of people, and I'd never done rock climbing before, but I ended up doing it. We ended up climbing Mount Arapiles, which is one of the mounts in the Grampians near where I live.
Yeah. Wow.
And I remember doing that and thinking, oh my God, like literally, I got to the top of it and it was literally 99.9% brain power that
Yes.
got me up that
Yes.
mount. And I just thought to myself, every single person who has depression or anxiety needs to actually put a harness on, have people underneath them, put your trust in the people underneath you that are going to help you if you can't make it to the top, but do everything you can to get to the top of that mountain. And I tell you what, your whole system will have changed.
Change.
So,
Absolutely.
those people that actually do rock climbing and all those people that actually have to put themselves out into some sort of what's the word, like sort of circumstance where it's not comfortable, and
Yeah.
they have to also rely on other people and trust other people. It can be the biggest healer ever. So,
100%.
if you're
100%.
young enough,
Because we all
I
have
don't know if
trust
I could climb
issues.
that mountain anymore.
Yes, we all traumatized people. Let's be honest about this,
Yeah,
okay? Soon you come
yeah,
to this world, you get traumatized. Somebody said to you something, it's just, and it depends how you're dealing with that. That trauma stays there, okay? If you don't deal there and there, or your mother didn't explain to you, and unfortunately, our parents are more traumatized than we are, and we then take all these traumas with us. Not only we have our traumas, we have now our parents' traumas because they didn't heal. It's like a
that's right.
constant
It
traumas.
just
It's
goes
like
down the line.
traumatic
It's like break
injuries.
the
Yes,
cycle somewhere.
yes, it's cycle,
Yeah,
cycle. So to break the cycle, you need to kind of step back, understand what's going on. On top of that, when you break into cycle, you need to look after your health, because it's not happened just once. Because when you're toxic or full with parasites, you won't be able to do that. You won't
no.
have even willpower to do that. And the recent studies also showed almost of that anxiety and depression, forget about trauma, we're talking about feeling low, comes actually from the gut, because you don't produce enough serotonin, so brain doesn't have that happy hormone to go around. You need that
Mm.
serotonin to make you feel better. But if your gut is
So you
inflamed,
need to fix your gut.
you have to fix your
You
gut.
need to fix the gut.
simply
Yeah, and the
simply
inflammation that comes with it. Yeah,
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 you have to fix
yep.
your gut.
And,
And
and
it's been
start and start with a parasitic cleanse, because
oh
that will
yes.
literally take care of so much, which you don't actually even realize. You
Yeah.
really don't. But
Yeah.
then you might. I mean, in my case, I knew I had a parasite, so because it was causing me quite a lot of pain. But I've had parasite cleanses before, when I wasn't really aware that I had parasites, but I thought I just feel like I need to take a parasite cleanse, and I would come away feeling so much better, so much clearer, a lot more
Yeah.
energy. That sort of that it always worked in the positive for me. So
Can I just,
that
somebody say your mind will always tell you not to do things that are good for you. Absolutely, because that's a programming.
yeah,
That's programming. You still get used, your
that's
mind,
it. Yeah,
your mind likes that stressful environment. It doesn't want to move forward because it's new for him, it's more stressful. Your mind is just, you go, it
mm,
tends to back. That's another way of programming. Recently I start doing mantra, different mantra, because if somebody else can program us, right, the government, the, I don't know, the parents, the tradition, the religion, the all of these bs's, they can program us. We can program ourselves. We can so program
we can
ourselves. You
reprogram.
just tell yourself you're
Absolutely.
good enough. You tell yourself, because you are good enough. Nobody can tell you you aren't, because you are good enough to do things. And it's just tiring, all this
Mm,
suppression going on, because they all put us in that low vibrational state, so we cannot actually succeed. We cannot do something better. If somebody healthy and good mind, it's not a good person for the government, because they cannot control you. Simple as
that's
that.
right. Exactly. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And it's really interesting when I had the physical parasites. I actually ended up, listening to my intuition now, and I kept getting, you've got a parasite. But I
Wow.
ended up going to a friend who was a healer, and
Okay.
she ended up saying to me, "Oh, you've got energetic parasites." I didn't even
Mm.
tell her that I had, like the parasite that I had, but she said, "Oh, there are," and she said, "I can actually feel the energy of an energetic parasite, some sort of
100%.
Weissadact type of energy." That had connected to me as well. And see, so I mean, that's another
So true.
road
That's
you can
another
go down
level.
too.
That's another level.
That
If
you,
you,
yeah, yeah,
so true.
because
So true.
energetically it's good to clear a lot of whatever, because whatever you've actually manifested physically usually starts in the ethers. It's literally in your outer bodies, your emotional bodies, like the traumatic bodies, all that sort of stuff, in your emotional body, in your whatever, your psychological body as well. And so that kind of, it starts there and then it manifests itself physically.
Yes.
So it's if you're going to actually do something physically, it's a good idea to maybe get checked out on an energetic level as well, because
Yes.
there's so
Yes.
much, there's so much Wi-Fi. There's all sorts of different energies that are about at the moment as well. We're flooded with EMFs all over the place. So that's another way we can also get
100%.
rid of
It's
whatever
such, it's so
parasites we
many
have.
layers we can, oh, you are so right. It's so many
It
layers we
is.
can look
Yeah.
at that. So many layers. But we can come to this fundamental thing, all right? So
Yeah.
for example, the smallest, well, it's not smallest anymore, the particle in our body, because they have different one. For example, electron. They found that electron can act as a wave. So basically, it's an energy. So that makes us all energy, because we consist of these atoms, electrons, neutrons, and protons, and what have you. If they show that electrons
Mm,
can be as a wave, it's act as a wave, then it can actually, you can consciously move that. Imagine this. It's a physics. It's actually scientifically. It's all proven.
mm,
So
mm.
that means we are all energy, and what you put in
That's
your
right.
head, you can control your body, you can change the energy, and you can change the outcome.
Oh,
Simple,
most definitely.
you know.
Just climb a mountain.
Exactly, just go
And
to
if you
Greece,
can't do it
get
physically, you can do it figuratively, Like every mountain can be climbed. Just get a support system if you need to, so that,
yes.
if you fall, someone will be there
100%. I
so
mean,
that you
just
don't fall
do
too far.
different things. Yes, just do different things. Just put yourself, you can do it.
That's
I
right.
mean, recently, have you ever heard about this guy? And his name is Anil. Oh, I can't pronounce his name, but he channeled Bashar, his entity. He comes to us to teach some lesson. And
Oh,
I
yes.
love
Yes, Bashar.
Bashar,
Yep.
Bashar. Oh my gosh, I love Bashar. So
Mhm.
basically I started
Mhm.
using his mantra recently, and when he's just said basically in the morning when you wake up, you just said, I am who I am, and that is enough. Literally say that three
Mhm.
times, morning and night. I start saying this because this period has been quite difficult. No matter how healed and whatever you
It
are, the
has.
collective can affect us too, because other people
It
can come
can.
to affect us too. So I start basically just
Mm.
using these simple things. I am who I am, and that is enough. Because it's
Mm.
enough. You don't need to
It is.
be, oh, it's causing so much anxiety. Just be, that state of mind, that presence, that peace, that will bring you so much healing in your physical and emotional and also energetic way, I guess.
And you said it before too, like earlier on, about becoming the observer of your own life. And
Mm,
once you can get really still as well, and do the breathing to actually become really still, you can literally become the observer of your own life. And that's
yes.
when you can then delve into find your intuition, and that will always lead you, especially if you have an illness or anything like that at all, it will always lead you to the right path that be will be right for you, because not everybody
Yes.
is the same. I mean, you and I both know that. I mean, it's interesting because with me and this friend of mine who has obviously different types of parasites. And I knew on some level that what worked for me was not going to work for him. So I
Mm,
then found another way to help him. Um, and he managed, so he's now under this particular parasite cleanse, and it is helping him.
wow.
So, whereas what was working for me wasn't working for him. But we both had parasites. It was very,
Talking
very
about
interesting.
the
It's obviously different parasites.
you absolutely no talking about parasites. There's some new studies, but they don't publish quite enough. They just talk about Helicobacter pylori, but I've just found in
Oh,
PubMed
yeah.
about chanterelle. I use chanterelle quite a bit because it has
Yes, I wanted you to talk about
ergogestrel.
that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So it has ergogestrel, which can weaken parasite membranes, and I have a beta glucans, which is polysaccharide, which is help to boost your immune system, which you will able to get rid of this. And they have lots of phenolic antioxidant that makes it's very hard for parasites to survive. So when I was doing all these researches and tablets and what have you, I wanted to see what's the natural way to doing it. So the PubMed did some of the studies. Some of them was on animals. Nobody did it, but there is Russian guy. He's a doctor. He swears by it. So am I now, because I start taking that mushroom chanterelle, because all those elements which is help you to boost your immune system, to weaken the parasite, it doesn't just stay in a gut, it goes somewhere else. So when we talk about the wormwood,
Mm,
cleaning the worm with the wormwood and
yes.
other stuff, it's amazing. But there is some mushrooms can do even better job to clear your body from all over the place. So you can
And
actually
so
use
where
the
do you get
seed.
chanterelle?
Chanterelle,
Where do you
it's
get it?
it's in it's chanterelle's in
It's a
Europe.
mushroom?
Yes, it's a mushroom. It's actually a
Oh, okay.
mushroom. So imagine mushrooms can help. The
Amazing.
mushrooms can help so many things. We're talking
Yeah.
about even mental health issues, like lion mane. Shiitake is good for about shiitake. The shiitake mushrooms. You know how they found that shiitake mushroom? They are the major one to help the immune system, and how it's been found basically was not the studies. These Japanese doctors reported uh, they gave 15 patients who is an end of it end of day they have a gastric cancer. There is nothing else can help them, so they wouldn't do any other
Mm,
treatment.
mhm.
So they gave them shiitake mushroom. Do you know they got better? I'm not talking about the cancer disappeared
Well,
and what have you, but they're able
yeah,
to
but
eat
they
and what
got
have
better.
you. Yes. So there's because of that immune boost, so you're able to. And to be fair, if you start researching it, cancer is actually inflammation. It's a problem. It's
Mm,
a problem with the inflammation and your immune system. If you start actually researching it, not going to that major medical words, what peptides and whatever it's affecting it, it's so simple.
mhm.
do you know?
Well,
It's so
yes,
simple.
yes.
I mean, we can go
Really?
into that. I can come up with the medical words quite easily, but people need to understand that in order to actually put that in their practice and understand and do that, in their day-to-day life. It's actually
Mm.
very simple. We can research which peptide or what the immunity and what immunoglobulin, whatever it is affecting it, but it's so simple. It's
Yeah,
really
I
simple.
know. It is really simple once you actually get down to it, isn't it? Like, it really is. And, I mean, I'm learning all the time about all sorts of things. I mean, I always was one for, always doing the spiritual work and the emotional work first for me. Whenever I had anything that was going on physically, I'd always go back. But I never actually really looked at, the like. I never did research into finding out exactly what to take,
Mm.
what would actually help my immune system. I never really. I just sort of left it to whatever. But yeah, I'm learning a lot from you, which is great with all these
Thank you.
mushrooms and all sorts of
Mm,
different things. It's great. It's fantastic.
I learned so much from you about all the spiritual things. It's just it's so much stuff. That's why we're here
So,
to teach each other,
yeah,
to
that's
have
exactly
to
right. I
share
mean,
our
you need both.
experiences. Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you need
Yes,
both. You really do, and that's the thing. And that's why when you treat someone holistically, you have to look at everything.
everything.
And that's the one thing that the medical system, unfortunately, is unable to do. Um, in the structure that it's in right now, it just cannot be everything. It can't
No,
treat people
no.
holistically because they literally have to pay the piper, which is the pharmaceutical companies. So literally, they don't really. Would you say that? Would you agree
Oh,
with that?
100%. It's all symptomatic treatment and all these drugs that are going to
Yeah.
make more money for the pharmaceuticals. And the people will never going to get better. I have now patients coming up being
They will
on
never get better.
medication for
And
20 years.
in a way,
Yeah.
it attracts more of the inflammation,
Oh,
attracts
yeah.
more of the parasites, and of course, people give over their whole entire life
Oh, yeah.
to the doctor and to the medical system, expecting the medical system to be able to heal them when in fact it will literally keep you sick. It will literally, you'll
100%.
just go around and around and around on a merry-go-round, and you'll never get off that merry-go-round. That's how it is, isn't it? It
That's how
is,
it is. So
yeah.
you need to take your power back. You need to take
That's the
responsibility.
one.
And that's where you
That's
can
the
heal
one.
yourself.
That's
Thank
it. Do a parasite cleanse, it'll help. Whatever works for you. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
I
so
know.
is there
So,
anything else that you wanted to actually talk about or say about parasites or anything else that will, help
well,
anybody or
yeah, we talk about
roundabout?
mushrooms. We talk about mushrooms. We talk about wormwood. There is other things pretty good. World Health Organization talk about this drug for years. It's very cheap. It's called ivermectin. We talk about this ivermectin. They're doing quite a few studies with
Yeah.
ivermectin, but it's not out there because if it's out there, then it's not going to help people, isn't it? I mean, I've recently was treating with ivermectin scabies, and one of the famous infection disease here. She advised
Oh,
me to
wow. Yeah,
prescribe
because
it.
I've
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
about it
yeah, yeah,
topically. It can
yeah, yeah.
actually
No, no,
help.
no, no. Oral ivermectin because she was
Oh,
infested with that.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting. Have
Yeah,
you heard of it topically also? Like
yeah,
people
yeah,
putting it
yes. They
on
have a
wounds and
topical
things like
one. It
that?
helps quite. Yes, yes, topical.
Yeah,
Also, topical we
yeah.
prescribe for the rosacea things, rosacea issues. With the people
Oh,
who have
that
a
works too.
rosacea. Yes,
I
that
wonder it'll
works
work
too.
on wrinkles.
Not sure. Wrinkles, I can help with the PRP. Come on, come to England. I'll do the treatment. So,
I
but
think I'm stuck with those.
uh, but you know what? It's the wrinkles. We talk about wrinkles. Remember, we talk about the gut microbiome. The lactobacillus
Mm.
rhotaria. Lots of women actually reported have less wrinkles. It's very good for the skin as well. The gut and skin connected as well.
So where can you find, what was it called?
So
Lactobacillus.
lactobacillus rhotaria, you can basically either make it yourself, get 5 billion capsules or whatever, and you can make yogurt yourself, or just take those capsules. I will,
Oh, you're just
I
talking, yes. Oh, you're talking,
yes,
oh, okay, yes.
yes,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you can just
Oh,
take those
like,
capsules.
kefir would
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
in
You
that.
can
Is it
just
in
put a yeah,
kefir?
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Like kefir have all this,
Oh,
but they don't have too much lactobacillus rhotarua. This is something is not researched that much. I've just basically find out
oh,
when I was looking at Dr. Barrick. I mean, he has been
right.
my favorite yeah, my favorite doctor I've been following. He's a naturopath. He's in America. He's the one who talks about quite a lot of inflammation, seeds oil, and all of this stuff.
Mm,
And I was, and then he was talking about the lactobacillus rhotarua because there was another researcher came in and talk about how he gave all these women, and they basically the skin got better and less wrinkles, by the way,
wow.
and even it's that's also
Oh,
connected to the genital areas too. It will affect that too, but we can discuss that later on. It's already 1 hour and I'm
yes. Well,
traveling
well, we'll do
today.
that.
Let's do
We'll
another
write a whole
live.
list.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll do another live, and we'll have a list of things that we want to talk about. And if
yeah, yeah, yeah,
anybody
yeah.
wants to talk about it, you can just
Just
write
give
it
us,
down, and
yeah, write
we'll
it
look into
down.
it.
Yeah, look, we'll look into, we can talk about microplastic and all of that stuff, spiritual things,
Yeah,
which
all
I
of that
want to
stuff.
talk to
Yeah,
you
yeah.
as well. But today it's been a great life.
It's
We
just
took
it
yes,
has. It's just about parasites and
yeah,
the gut microbiome, which is so important, for health, good health. And I'm really starting to see that, like, because it actually happened to me just recently, and it was
I
bad.
know.
Oh my god, it's bad.
Every
Yeah,
time
and
some
also just how doctors, like with my friend, who, like, it's like the doctors are just not on board. Most of them, it just astounds me. I don't. I'm like,
they'll
what
prescribe you
the?
statin. Oh, your cholesterol is high. Oh yeah, let me give you statin,
Oh,
even though
yeah, no,
70% of cholesterol
I
produced by
don't
your
think so.
liver. Yeah. But
My
anyway, we'll talk
cholesterol's
about that
high.
later
It's
on.
always
We'll
high.
talk
No, I
about
don't
later.
care.
So, do you want to do it
Oh,
on your
yeah,
web?
we'll talk about all of these things. We need to talk about these things.
All things medical.
Okay.
Yes, we can. We can
Anything
do.
medical, like, we're going to start to talk about those things. Yeah, that would be
Yes,
awesome.
yes, yes, yes. So,
So if
we
anybody wants to even write stuff down, anything that they want to talk about, because, I mean, Angela has so much experience, and she's a doctor that really looks at everything holistically. She looks at the whole person, and also, and knows about all sorts of amazing things. But also, you also look at the spiritual aspect of things as well, and the
yeah.
emotional aspect, which most doctors are not in tune with, from my
But you taught me so
experience,
much as well with the spiritual aspect, with the how things are, with the multidimensional aspect, with the things happening. You taught me so much. It's just a, it's it's great to know more. It's amazing to have all of this collaboration. And anyway, they can subscribe on our channels, and then we can do either
Yes,
my
they can
channel or your
subscribe on our channel.
yes, and then we can
So
always
your channel on YouTube
it's
is,
at
because I
Dr. Angela Musso. It's at Dr. Angela Musso, the healing place.
at
Yes,
Dr.
at
Angela
Dr.
Musso,
Angela Musso. Yes, so we can.
and you're also on Instagram as The Healing Place,
Yes, and
and
TikTok.
on TikTok as The Healing Place as well. Yes. And I am the Navigator's Tarot on Instagram, and also on
Sleepy
TikTok,
wisdom. Yes,
which I'm
and
not on
sleepy.
very often. I'm not on very often. And on YouTube, I am Sleepy Wisdom.
Yes,
So, yes, if you want to know, we're going to probably start to do some of
yes.
these lives, so that we can actually just help others who are struggling, because,
It's about
it's
time.
hard enough on this earth with
It's about
it's
time.
hard enough without help, and I think we all need a little bit of help at the moment.
Oh yeah. Oh
Come
yeah.
on,
And it's good to share and actually to be
it's
able to
good
share
to
because
share.
most of the times you can't do it because you've been suppressed.
I
But
tell
we'll
you
talk
what,
about this
I
later on.
mean,
It was
I
a
have
great
come.
life.
Oh, it was a great life. I have come across a lot of doctors over the years. I swear to God, I've never come across anyone as open as you are to
Thank you.
absolutely everything. It's just amazing, Angela.
Oh,
You're an
thank you
amazing
so much.
person.
And you're amazing
So,
person and amazing nurse to know all of this stuff for so many years. And you just like, wow.
well, it's because once you get out of yourself, you become the observer, and you begin to notice things. You
Yeah.
know, so you know that. You know that.
Yes, I
Anyway,
know. All
okay,
right,
all
put
right.
that in.
Well,
I'll give you a call in 5. All right, we'll just chat. It
okay,
was
we
beautiful,
will. All right, that has
Tracy.
to work out.
Yes.
All right, bye everyone.
Yeah. Bye,
Bye, Angela.
everyone. See you.
Mwah. We'll see you
Ciao, ciao,
soon.
ciao. See you
Bye
soon. Bye, bye,
bye.
bye, bye.